So it's actually the the third day of me being here. We came on Monday, this is now Thursday night. A football game is going on and my colleagues decided they'd like to go and see it, leaving me free to go for a bit of a walk, and that in turn leaves me free to do some filming. Obviously people having a chat and talking about their own thing, and I don't really want to be interrupting or recording things that they might not want me to record, so therefore it seems a lot easier to make films when I'm free to go off and do my own thing. It's not that I didn't want their company, they're very nice people, I have to say I really enjoyed their company, but I'm not really a football fan, so as those of you that follow my stuff might realise, I watch pretty much just the international games, and then I don't really go to the stadium, so they've all gone off to the stadium here to see a football game, actually live in the stadium, the local team playing some Spanish team for the European, whatever it is. There's two European things, I don't even know the difference between the two. So, and it kind of went a little bit in one ear and out the other what they're going to do, but well, I hope they have a nice time. I'll tell you what, if it was this is Dmitry Kvarastovsky, and if he were here doing a concert, I'd probably stand on my head to get a ticket to it. That having been said, I mean, he's been in Moscow doing concerts a few times and I haven't been. They do tend to be quite expensive though, and also you have to, plan your life around them a little bit. And because I have this thing where I have 1 week in Russia and 2 weeks in Russia, 1 week in Poland, I've noticed that sometimes I get bad luck with things. That when there's something good in Poland, I tend to be in Russia. Whenever there's something good in Russia, I tend to be in Poland. And even when I'm in the right place, I sometimes get so shattered by the volume of work that there is that I don't necessarily do everything that theoretically I could. I certainly like doing things where I can go out and film it, but of course you can't film concerts anyway. So I prefer just to go for a walk and film it and add to my collection, to this video diary of my life, which really has started, well, if you include the photographs and things that I was taking since I started photography, that goes back to 2006 just about. 2000, yeah, I didn't do the walking thing until 2007. Is when I really started doing that, I suppose, but at first was very, very brief. I didn't get the chance to do long ones like I do now. Knigi. It was folk like Ken Bankston that got me started on it. Still friends with him on Facebook and what have you, to have a chat to him from time to time. So basically, Teatr Kukolny. So like it's a puppet theatre. Kukolny Teatr Kukol. So there we are. That's a nice thing for kids. Many Russian towns and Polish ones as well. Well, I'm not so sure that the one that used to be the Kukolny Teatr, which was in Warsaw, I'm not sure it still works. I think it was somewhere on Mokotów, and I haven't seen it advertised for a while, so maybe it stopped, I'm not sure. This anyway is Krasnaya, ulica Krasnaya, just means Red Street, and Krasnodar of course means red gift. However, it was initially Dar, which means gift of Catherine. The Empress Catherine gave this as a gift, the town, to the local tribes. So she said, here you go, have a town. And so she basically founded a town for them. I don't know what that basically means in practical terms, but she said, this is your town, you can have a town here. Maybe she put some money in to build some buildings in a row for them, and everything went from then on. So now, 200 odd years later, the most historical parts of this city are like 200 years old, and then there's other things built around it. And it's a city, I think I've said, of about, well, around about 1 million people. Around about 1 million. It didn't take me long to get down to this point. When I was being driven around, I wasn't sure, because of the speed of the car being completely a different order of magnitude to which you can walk, I wasn't 100% certain how long it would take to walk down to this kind of place, down this main street, Krasnodar. But basically, pretty much in the interesting bits where there's lots of fountains here and things. And this is an administrative building, obviously, and here you'll be able to see a few interesting points which I think I would like to explore more on foot, because before I've seen this just from the car. Oh, that's a high pavement, wasn't expecting that. It went right up my spine. In the main, this is actually more neatly constructed than most of Moscow. It's very nice the way they do things here. More reminiscent, actually. Minsk is a nicely laid out place, and so is Kiev, or used to be, before some nasty people got their hands on it and messed it all up. You can see the hammers and sickles are still there in force. Nobody really felt like taking them down because it's a part of the history, even though there's not communists in there now. Russia, as it is, did build itself 70 years on certain ideals, certain ideas. Those ideas aren't taken as, what should we say, axioms anymore. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that you treat the whole thing with anathema. Even as a Christian, I can't see it necessarily being there. Although sometimes you wonder, really, as a Christian, because of course the symbol there, the sickle underneath, and then the hammer there on top, yeah. You can see an awful lot of similarity between the crescent moon, usually going the same way, and in the middle of a crescent moon often you'll see a star pretty much situated where the head of the hammer is. And you just wonder whether the devil doesn't put that kind of signature on a lot of his ideas, Islam being one of them and communism another, whether that kind of moon business, because the sickle really does look like a crescent moon, and the head of the hammer, obviously it doesn't look like a star, but you'd see stars well enough if you hit somebody come along and hit you on the head with it. Anyway, enough of that. RSFSR, the Russian Federation, of course, Российская социальная федеральная Советская Республика or something. I may have got those words in the wrong order. Or Социалистическая Российская Советская Федеральная Социалистическая Республика, not quite sure, RSFSR. So what they used to call Russia in the days of the Soviet Union. And you can see the wheat sheaves up there. Can you see that well enough? Maybe I'll take also a photograph of that with the camera in a minute. I don't have a camera with me. I've just got telephones at the moment. I decided to not take my camera here. I know it would be nice to have it with me this evening, but you can do some things with a phone anyway. Nice building over there. Anyway, this gives me a chance just to make a record of this lovely city. I have really liked it here, and I've noticed the women are absolute corkers around here. Much better than in Moscow, I have to say, although you see some pretty good ones in Moscow. I'm going to talk about the flag in a minute. I've walked away from the flag without necessarily mentioning it. I just wanted to show you this statue. That guy's obviously a Cossack. He wears a Cossack's hat. There you see the Russian Federation flag behind it. There's Kubanskому Казачеству, sorry, I'm reading it wrong, посвящается. Yeah, so it's the statue celebrating Kuban Cossacks. Over there you see the regional flag. It's got the dark blue on the top. You've got a red stripe in the middle and a green stripe below. The middle stripe seems to be rather larger than the top two. It's like half of it. If you draw it, it's almost a little bit like you'd divide that flag if you wanted to draw it. And where the Russian flag's divided into three, you'd probably divide your piece of paper into four laterally with the Kuban flag, and put the darker blue than there is on the Russian flag at the top quarter, and then the two quarters in the middle you'd put a red which is a little bit more, looks slightly pinkier than the Russian red, and then a dark, almost Irish green, if not just slightly darker than that, down there. Then this golden symbol in the middle. I'm not quite sure what that represents itself, but it's kind of a big, a quite involved emblem in gold in the middle, which maybe I'll get the chance to look at more closely later on. So the Cossacks here, you can see the Cossack hat. His horse looks very much like Victor Emanuele's horse in front of the wedding cake building in Italy. That's the last time I seen that horse anyway. Maybe it's the same person doing it, I don't know. Over there we've got like a I don't know if it's going to be allowed to, there's a lot of piped music in that park. Probably it's going to be allowed to go and look at the St. George over there. You see a lot of St. George's in Russia because St. George is, well, he's actually, I think he's a patron saint of Moscow, but he's patron saint of a lot of places, obviously in England as well. You don't see that many St. George's. You see them in the city of London a bit. But basically, you see St. George appearing quite a lot of places. I'm not sure whether he's a real saint. I think he got deselected at one point to make way for somebody else, possibly John Paul II, but probably not. And there's an interesting looking, oh, I should pull back because I went right up to it, to the limit, to take a good look at that building. Anyway, I'm walking away without doing any shots, just to get everything around here on so that you can see it, and then I'll take some shots in a minute. I just want you to see where these things, how these things all fit together. Maybe do a 360 degree. Might be able to do one on the iPhone as well, one of those panorama ones, but that won't show up on the film, so you won't see that unless you look at my stuff on Facebook. I'll probably do that one up to Facebook. But anyway, here we go. There's what it looks like going around what we just looked at. This interesting building here with the mural, which I don't pretend to be able to work out anything. Somebody with a book on fire, and a nice blue fronted building. A small fountains, lots of fountains here. This lovely green thing, and the park with the funny thing with the St. George's thing. I'm going to put some photos up. Oh look, there's a guy over there in a big mask, and when it's this hot you don't really want to be in that outfit, but never mind. Some photos, I think.